Welcome, people, to another episode. In this episode, we're going to be looking at why people avoid going to Finland and also address the perception that Finland is a boring country. As we all know, the Scandinavian countries and the Nordic countries are quite interesting to go to, especially during summer because the summer gets really hot. However, some people decide to go during winter, and that applies to people like me. Okie dokie, let's see what I was up to on this cold day in Finland. And what I did was I traveled all the way from Estonia via ferry to Helsinki. Helsinki is the capital of Finland and is one of the most visited cities in that region. Obviously, there are other parts of Finland that you can obviously go to, but I chose to go to Helsinki. Okie dokie, let's see what I was up to. Enough talking. People, I'm so glad I arrived nice and safe. I caught the ferry from Tallinn early in the morning, around 6ish, and I arrived at 8 o'clock. I've been gallivanting since I arrived, looking for what to do. I'm hoping it doesn't rain though, because there's a rain forecast today, and if it does rain, it's going to be bonkers. So I'm just hoping it doesn't. The weather is really cold, like proper cold. It's really unfortunate I've not got my gloves. I might have to buy one. I thought the weather might be okay, but nah, it's bloody cold. Like, it feels like a freezer right now. There's a lot of tourists around actually. I've been hearing a lot of accents, like American accents, British accents, German accents. There's a lot of people around, so it's going to be an exciting one today. So my return ticket is for 9 o'clock this evening, and I'm going to arrive in Tallinn just after midnight. Okay, so where am I going to now? So I'm just making my way to the Russian Cathedral. It's not a Russian cathedral per se, but it's a Russian built cathedral. It's called Ouspensky Cathedral, and it's one of the major cathedrals in Helsinki. So I'm going to see what it looks like. It doesn't open till around 5ish today, which is quite late for a cathedral to open. But because today is a Good Friday, not a lot of places are opened now. A lot of places are actually opened late. Or opening late, sorry. So in the Baltics, you see a lot of crazy things like this. And also in the Nordics. Can you see what he's riding on? I've never seen that in the UK before. I'm looking forward to doing a live session in Helsinki. I think it's going to be a good one actually. Live from Helsinki. I would look for a lovely restaurant, a nice restaurant to sit at. And I'm not looking to drink today actually. I've been drinking since Wednesday. I've been having a lot of Baltic beer. Estonian in particular, and I think I've had enough for now. I might get back to my drinking tomorrow.
I've still not booked my ticket to Tartu, which is the second most populous city in Estonia. I might have to find time today to book it. If I don't book it on time, then it's going to be a nightmare,
because the tickets might get sold out or might increase in price. So I've got to make sure I book it on time.
I don't think I'm going to Narva anymore, because if Helsinki is this cold and Narva is literally up north in Estonia, I'm gonna freeze to death when I get there.
Okay, so a lot of people go to Finland during summer, like I said earlier, but my recommendation is go during winter and just see how the winter season is. Good thing about the winter season is that's a bit of a rhyme there, but I suppose the best thing about the winter season is you wouldn't obviously have a lot of tourists around. Sometimes it might feel like you're the only tourist, but trust me, they do have a lot of tourists in Helsinki. So I implore you to go around winter and obviously check out the places you have in mind. Also, they do have a food market in the center, and that way you can try some good Finnish food. In Finland, things are not affordable like other parts of Europe. And when I mean other parts, I mean like the western part. The Nordic countries and the Scandinavian countries seem to be quite expensive, but I suppose it is expected due to where they are, and I suppose the standard of living around that region is quite high. Just in terms of what you can see anyway, so they have the famous cathedral, it's called Uusimaa Cathedral, and that is the cathedral that the Russians built years ago. So it's not a Russian cathedral per se, so let's get that straight. But it's a Russian cathedral that was built in Finland. So feel free to visit that. Unfortunately, because I went on a bank holiday, there wasn't a lot of tourist activities going on that day. But if you go on a normal day, you can obviously do a lot. The perception, like I said, of Finland is it is quite boring, but I suppose if you have things planned out, it's not as bad as you think. One thing you should bear in mind is it gets really, really cold in Finland. When I did go, it was quite cold. I had to obviously stay indoors for a while after gallivanting around, and also it did rain. Bear in mind that I went via ferry as well, so I did see how cold it was because the ferry went through the Baltic Sea, and the Baltic Sea was quite frozen as well. It's amazing how the ferry is able to drive through a frozen sea. I've never actually experienced that before, but it was good to see that when I went to Finland. Okay, enough talking. Let's see what else I was up to.
So like all the designer looking things in there. Oh, this looks nice. I like it. It's got like West London vibes. So let's talk about flags. Let's talk about flags. So that's a Finnish flag, the white one, the white and blue. Oh, what flag is that? The next one, I think that's. Oh, I think that's Denmark. Listen, I don't want to mess up. I don't want to start telling you the wrong ones. Like, I don't want to start naming the flags wrong. I mean, so let's keep moving. It's bloody cold. Good thing is I've got my GoPro battery, the white one. So GoPro has two types of batteries. There's one called GoPro Enduro, it's a white one, and it's perfect for winter, which is what I've got in my GoPro now. And they also have a blue one, and that one is for both summer and winter, but it doesn't perform so well during winter. So let's see. I've got my charger anyway, so if the battery goes, then I'll just charge it. Helsinki is all the way up north. So Helsinki is regarded as a Nordic country, and also it is in the northern part of Europe, and some people class it as a Baltic country, but when they talk about the Baltics, Finland is not mentioned as a Baltic per se. Is regarded as a Nordic, but it is obviously within the Baltic Sea. So some people might say, like I've heard people saying, oh, are you going to the Baltics? You're going to Finland. And I'm like, yeah, Finland is by the Baltic Sea, but is regarded as a Nordic country. So bear that in mind, guys, yeah? The Baltics are Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. 3 countries are the Baltics. Then the Nordics are Denmark, Sweden, Finland, and Norway.
Yes, like I said earlier, Scandinavian countries are different from the Nordics. The Scandinavians don't include all the Nordics, so that's how to make a distinction. So in terms of Nordic countries, like I said, we have Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and Finland. But in terms of Scandinavian, we have Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. So you just literally have more countries within Nordic, basically, and that's the easiest way to make the distinction. Um, I implore you to go to all the Nordic countries because they're all quite interesting. So I've been to 2 Nordic countries so far. I've been to Norway and I've been to Finland, and also I'm looking to go to Denmark and Sweden. Unfortunately, I couldn't go to Sweden the last time I planned to go. So I did go to Norway sometime last year. And when I went to Norway, the plan was to obviously go to Sweden for a day. Unfortunately, what happened was I looked at the weather forecast for the following day to Sweden because I landed in Norway, let's say on a Wednesday or Thursday, and I planned to go to Sweden the following day. However, when I checked the weather forecast, it was quite bad, so I had to miss my flight on purpose. I did try to obviously get the money back, but I couldn't get the money back, which was quite painful. However, I do plan to visit Sweden sometime in future. It will actually be good to see what's happening in Sweden, considering Sweden is getting a lot of negative media attention around a lot of gang activities in Sweden. Sometimes the media makes it worse than it is, and it's always good to go there yourself and find out if what they are saying actually reflects the country. Because sometimes a lot of these people would say that, and when you get there, it's not as bad as it is. But I do plan to go to Stockholm, which is or which was the initial plan, I should say. When you go to the food market, please aim to have the local Finnish dishes. What I try to do is when I go to these countries, I focus on the local delicacies instead of going for the international ones because you could obviously have the international one sometime in the future or when next you travel to the countries that the food relates to, let me put it that way. So sometimes I might go to a certain country, let's say I go to Estonia, I wouldn't have, let's say, Norwegian food because the whole point of going to Estonia is to have the local dish. Obviously, I can go to Norway and have Norwegian food, or I could have Norwegian food sometime when I get back to the UK. But what I tend to do is to focus more on obviously the local delicacy of that country for many reasons, actually. The first one is you travel to a country to experience their own food. You also travel to a country to understand their culture. So it's really important that you do that when you travel to a certain country. Okay, okay, let's see what I was up to.
They've got a lot of good food. I'm peckish now. Very hungry. Everyone is literally munching. Oh, so that's traditional Finnish food. This is what I need to try actually. So that's traditional. So that's salmon soup with bread and coffee. Okay, so I'm learning now. That looks nice. That looks like leg fish. Okay. So I'm gonna come here. Listen, I'm saying I'm gonna go everywhere. So I need to choose one. So they've got the meat pie, they've got the meat pie place, they've got the hot dog place, and they've got the traditional Finnish. I'm gonna have to pick one. I'm gonna have to pick one. Oh, I could see the cathedral already. Can you see the cathedral? That's the Russian built cathedral. So they've got a lot of gloves, they've got jumpers, they've got everything for the winter. It's still winter around here. Forget March. You would think it's really warm. Oh, hold on. Do I have to I think I might have to climb the hill there to get to the cathedral. All my days, I'm not looking forward to doing cardio. I might have to take a break. I think that's what I'm going to do actually. I think I'll take a break, then I'll continue recording. So maybe get some Finnish food and do a live session. Yeah, I think that's a good idea actually. Have some Finnish food, do a live session, then continue recording. Okie dokie, I'll see you guys in a bit, yeah? There's still a lot more to see. I'm going to take you to the cathedral there later on. Can you see that cathedral? I can't bloody pronounce cathedral today. Then I'll take you to the other parts later on.
Cathedral, cathedral, cathedral. So, like I said earlier, you need to go to the Uusimaa Cathedral in Finland. Very important. Okay, okay. So, whilst I was going around, I did notice that Finland is quite clean for a country compared to other countries in Finland. I mean, other countries around Finland actually. Although a lot of the Nordic countries are clean, there are some that might have certain parts that are not that great. So I do implore you to kind of check it out and see how it is. Okay, in terms of entering the cathedral, I think there's no fees to go in because I did check online to see if you have to pay a fee. All I know is it is free to go in, but I think you have to go in at certain times of the day, and I think it depends on the day you actually go. But because of time and because I had a lot to obviously check out, I didn't have enough time to go through the whole cathedral. The cathedral is quite big and there's a lot of places to take pictures. So please make sure you take a picture. There's no point of going to Helsinki and not obviously taking a picture there. Also, there's a lot of places within the sea that you can actually take pictures at. So where the food market is, it is quite close to the Baltic Sea, and you would see some of the ferries from Estonia there as well. So it's quite interesting. Also, what I did notice was there were a lot of family obviously hanging around where the ferries were and kind of touching the water just to feel how cold it was. It was bloody freezing, and I can't even imagine touching that water. Not to lie. Anyways, let's move on from that. So what I did was I went to the cathedral and I went to other parts that I could go to. To be totally honest, you need to really plan your journey, because if you don't plan, then you'd actually not know what to do when you get there. Hence why people say Helsinki is boring. Also, people find Helsinki as a bit dry in terms of like things to do socially. I don't know how the social life is in Helsinki, as I only spent a day. I would have to spend at least 2, 3 days in order to gauge it and find out how fun and nice it is. However, due to time and due to things I had planned out for that day, I couldn't. What's funny though is initially when I got to Helsinki, I don't think I said this in the actual video, but initially when I got there, I thought, you know what, it's bloody boring. I'm going to head back to Estonia. However, haven't viewed some of it. That's some of Helsinki. That morning, I thought, you know what? Instead of going back to Estonia, I might as well check out more, because what tends to happen is when people go to certain cities, their first impression might not be the actual reflection of that city. You'd have to actually check it out and see for yourself in order to make a conclusion. Anyways, enough talking. Let's see what I was up to.
Finland. I've got a feeling they might speak some Russian here as well, considering in Estonia there were some Russian speaking people, so I guess it will be the same for Finland. Hello. Finnish people are lovely, lovely people, nice people. They say hello. Okay. So yeah, so languages. So in Finland and Estonia, they have Russian speakers there, and that's because they're all interrelated. Oh, look at that! You think I should jump on that? The Helsinki Eye, not the London Eye, the Helsinki Eye. It's too cold for that though. I'm going to allow it. Obviously there'll be heating there. It's not going to be cold, but I can't be bothered. And I've got a long day today. Like I said, my ferry's at 9ish, so I've got time to play, so I could still change my mind. Oh, they've got a hop on, hop off. Okay, let's see. So start your tour from nearest available stop. Yeah, hop on, hop off is always a good one to do though. So what's today's date? Today is the 29th, I think. Let me check I think today is the 29th. Look at me not knowing the date. Yeah, today is the 29th of March. I don't think it works in March though, because all the dates here are April dates. I could hear something moving around there.
Yeah, so the problem with hop on, hop off is there are certain countries that only obviously operate on certain time of the year or times of the year, and also they operate within certain days. So you just have to be mindful on the days that you choose to go to certain parts of Finland, because if they do offer hop on, hop off services, they might not be operating at that point in time. Okay, so just regarding tourist activities, make sure you go via the agents they have online, because it's just much more easier for you to book. Obviously, the people of Finland speak English. A lot of people speak very good English actually. However, it is always advisable to book it online. It's just much more easier. In terms of price, I'm not sure if it's cheaper online I've not actually compared prices at the actual place, destination, sorry, compared to the prices provided online. However, I would say booking online is just much more easier. Okay, so whilst I was walking, I did see a strip where they had some bars and restaurants. I did try to go in there, but I thought because the weather is not great and it was raining, it might be better for me just to explore a bit more, then go there and see if I could get something light to eat, because the plan was to eat in the food market. But feel free to eat as much as you want. Finnish food is not heavy, from what I've seen anyway. They eat a lot of seafood, I did notice. But I might be wrong. They might have some heavy food as well. Who knows? But I only had few hours. Also, in terms of traveling to Finland, I would say you don't need more than 2 days in Finland, because there will be nothing else to do. So 2 days, I would say, would be my maximum. But I chose to have few hours there. So if you go to Helsinki for 2 days, I think you'd be able to do most of the touristy stuff. Also, people go to a place called Lapland, and I suppose they go there for other things, because Lapland is known for other tourist activities. However, for me, I like to go to places that have a bit of hustle and bustle, although that was not the case in Helsinki, and I was not expecting that to be the case. Okie dokie, let's see what else I was up to.
I'm sure you guys are looking forward to it as well. Right, so can anyone tell me in the comment section if that's a Soviet building? Because you lot would know, wouldn't you? YouTubers know everything. Nah, we don't. Because people will be like, oh, I'm sure you know, or I'm sure you've done your research. No, I haven't this time. But I do know there are some Russian built buildings around, like that one. But note that it is not a Russian building, it's a Russian built building. That's what my research told me, that be careful of what you say. It's not a Russian building because they don't own it. It's a Russian built building. So watch your language when you talk. Hey, I like that. That's very nice. Thank you. Very nice. Okay. So we keep moving.
Buildings, buildings, buildings. So, like I said earlier, you need to be careful when it comes to saying that the building is a Russian building. Anyways, I spoke to a Russian regarding using the word Soviet, because sometimes I go to certain countries that were part of the USSR, and I do talk a lot about a building being a Soviet building. Apparently, there's a distinction between a Russian building and a Soviet building, so just bear that in mind.
Google might be wrong, but that's what Google says. It might be that they're doing other activities there today. I'm sure they have weddings and things like that. It's a nice building, isn't it? Ruski. That's Russia. Or Russian, maybe. Ruski. Okay, since I can't make my way to Narva, which is the border, which has the land border between Estonia and Russia, I've decided to come to the closest thing to Russia. And that's the Opensky Cathedral. So let's walk around and see how it looks like. So it's quite big though. It is a big cathedral. Most cathedrals are actually quite big, not to lie. And it's got like that Russian thing about it, like You know the gold bit on top? That's quite Russian. So let's go up there and see what's happening. A lot of these good buildings or nice buildings always require you to climb stairs. It's like they want to put you to work before you actually see how it looks like. I've already seen some people going in, but I think there are people that work there, because I did see a number of people wearing like church garments. So I think there are people working for the church.
Yeah, that's totally correct. The people that were going in were people that actually work in the church, because when I checked the time for visiting, it was a bit later that day. So it was the guys that were working there. And obviously, as it's a church, they obviously have events in church. So there were people that were going there for other occasions as well. But tourists are allowed there, like I said. It just depends on if you have time to wait for the visiting hours. To be totally honest, I don't implore you to wait for long to go in. There are other things you can actually do. But I just wanted to see the view anyway because I thought it would be a good view and I thought I would have a view of Helsinki. So it is a place that people normally go to have an overview of Helsinki. I did try my best to take a lot of pictures there as well to kind of show the whole background of Helsinki, but it's always quite difficult. You might need a special type of camera to kind of picture or take a picture of the whole lot. But yeah, so this was the part I really liked anyway because, looking at Helsinki, it shows that it is a vibrant city, especially during summer. But obviously, during winter, people try to avoid it. Also, a lot of the locals did comment on my video and they did say that why the hell did you go during winter? You should have gone during summer because it's much more better. Unfortunately, my trip to Finland was not planned. As you all know, I'm quite spontaneous when I do my travel. So what happened was I did plan to visit various parts of Estonia, including a place called Nava, but I couldn't go to Nava because I was so busy checking out Tallinn. Tallinn was quite good to explore. So basically, what I did was I thought, where should I go to that is not far away from Estonia? And the first place that came to mind was Finland. So what I did was I checked online for the next available ferry to Finland, and I made my way there, and it was quite a trip. Okay, this will be the last part of this video, and in this part, I was exploring around the town center area, and also I was looking to explore a massive building I did see. That building was a building that I saw a lot of people hanging around at, but I'll show you the building in a second. What I think you should do is when you first get to Helsinki, you might want to explore the town first. The town is quite big. I'm not sure if I can call it a city. I'll call it much more of a town. But yeah, so you can see that white building there. Funny enough, they were doing an event that day. They're always doing something in all these places when I go there. They were actually preparing for an event that weekend, and there were a lot of speakers and a lot of locals hanging around at that time. But I think, if I'm correct, I can't recollect what exactly what the building is, but I think it's a museum though. I think it was a museum because I did see people buying tickets in front of it. So I did explore it a bit and I took some pictures. I think Helsinki is actually good for taking pictures though. And sometimes it's always good to like check out winter countries because sometimes the pictures might come out really nice there. So hence why I thought it would be a good place to take pictures at. Also, if you want to go to a museum, I think you might need to do a bit of research on what the museum is all about, because various museums have various things that are done or are displayed within them. So, for example, in the UK, we have a Royal Air Force Museum, for example, which has a lot of old aeroplanes, and it shows the time where the UK and its allies obviously fought during the World War. So they have a lot of planes that reflect that. So they would have similar things in Helsinki, for example, where they only show certain parts that have certain things. So you might want to do your research to see if it's something that you want to obviously explore, because it might not be something that you're interested in. So always bear that in mind whilst you're doing your tours. Also, you might want to take the tram as well, because they have a lot of trams within Helsinki. So you might want to take that to obviously make your way around the town or the center part of Helsinki. And I think that would be a great one to do. A lot of Helsinki videos showing me the actual architecture. A lot of them show you like the food market area and places like that. So it's good coming here myself to see it for myself. That rhymes. It's good coming here myself, looking to see how it looks like myself. Also, this cathedral requires you to do a lot of walking. So I'm going to be walking up the hill. I swear I'm going to sleep like a baby when I get to my apartment, which might be like 1 in the morning, considering I'm arriving in Tallinn very late. Look at that huge building there, very big. Okay, so that's Helsinki Cathedral. Thank you. Look at how huge that cathedral is. I'm sure there's a lot of goodies inside. I'm sure it looks really nice. And it's a good place to take pictures as well. Obviously, if you don't take a picture here, then I would say you're a bit silly. Yeah, so talking about cathedrals, so sincere apologies. I did mention earlier that it was a museum. Sorry, it is not a museum, it's actually a cathedral. It is called Helsinki Cathedral. So you can actually tell that I don't obviously write up my voiceovers. I obviously freestyle it, which I like doing. I'd rather do that than write down what I'm gonna say. But yeah, it is an actual cathedral. So it was one of the cathedrals that I had in mind to visit. So the Helsinki Cathedral is a massive one that you need to actually visit. I just thought that it would be good to jump in and correct that. So I'm not giving you any misinformation. I'm not trying to obviously mislead anyone, but yeah, it is the Helsinki Cathedral. Okay, let's see what else I was up to. Actually holding an event here. Can you see the lighting? Very interested. I wonder what's going on this weekend. I'm definitely not going to be around to see it. Wow, that's massive. Okay. This is really big. I wonder how long it took them to build this building. Considering the detail, there's a lot of detail. I think you might have to go in to buy a ticket if you need to get one. But you can get it online. So talk about detail.
And I don't think they used a machine to make this at all. Can you see the level of detail? It's massive. And it looks like they're doing some maintenance work there. Can you see that? They're doing some maintenance work. All these sort of buildings require a lot of specialists. Because I've been to some parts of Europe where people are literally like focusing on one pillar, like 4 people on just one pillar, trying to sort out all the detail. So it's amazing the amount of effort and money they put in.
Did you actually hear me panting? So I was literally panting because I was running out of breath. There are certain places you visit that have a lot of staircases. One place is like that is Italy. So when I went to Rome, Rome has a lot of monuments and a lot of historical sites. And what tends to happen is you'd have to climb a lot of stairs in order to actually get to your monument site. So if you're not fit enough, you're going to have a problem actually getting there. So what I tend to do is I go to them places first, so I have a bit of energy. I mean, because I have a bit of energy at that time, then obviously explore the other bits later on. But yeah, it was quite tiring, to be honest.
Okie dokie. I think this is the final bit. So that's the I don't know if you can see that from here, but they have like a clock up there. I need to take some pictures actually. The view is just crazy. And look at the view you can get from here as well. You can literally get like a little overview of little Finland or little Helsinki. I call it little Helsinki because you can't actually cover the whole of Helsinki from this view. So let's say some bits of Helsinki can be covered. If you need to know what's happening all the way there, you can stand here and see it.
Okie dokie, I'm going to have to end it here. Hopefully, the recap showed you some of the things that you can do when you get to Helsinki. Please like, comment, and subscribe.